So you could look at this game where Caleb put the team on his back, so to speak, along with Kyle Monangai, Colston Loveland. Caleb accomplished something yesterday that's never happened in the history of the sport. He threw for 280 or more, threw for 3 touchdowns, caught 2 passes for 22, including catching a touchdown, ran for 53, and, oh, by the way, 0 turnovers. So if I asked you to grade his performance, not saying there aren't things you have to clean up, what would you grade him?
Yeah, I think that's a solid B+, A- effort. Obviously, there's things that have to be cleaned up. There were times where he was missing open receivers, times where I think Ben probably wants the play call back. Like I think of the, earlier in the game when it's, third down from the 6-yard line and he throws there, they should have run. That was a red zone opportunity. You can point out the negatives because I do think that there are a lot of things with Caleb's game that even Ben said, it's an up and down game, but he finished. He got them in position to win the game at the end. Like that 14-yard scramble when he, kicks it into high gear and realizes that he can use his legs as a weapon. Look how dangerous he is. So it's like watching somebody figure something out in real time, which I think is a cool thing for a young quarterback. Not necessarily, an easy thing for a fan base to have to deal with, but to then see him comfortably step up. They get the coverage they want. He's able to deliver that ball to Colston Loveland and come through. Like this is the first time I think we can say the offense carried the defense in Chicago this season. And Caleb's a humongous part of that, despite having some things that they're going to want to clean up with his game.
What's the latest on the injury front?
Yeah, I mean the Cole Kmet injury. So he had a concussion. He has a concussion. So he left in the second quarter, didn't come back. That's a big one. But I think that paved the way for Colston Loveland to have the type of game that he did. And my goodness, like this was such a, it's a long time coming for a player that they drafted 10th overall. Like you expect that guy to play that way. And now he had the opportunity to do it. I don't know if he has that same game if Cole Kmet's playing, but so Kmet's out right now with a concussion. We know DeAndre Swift is still, dealing with a groin injury. That paved the way for Kyle Monangai to have the game that he did. As far as injuries in the game, I can't think of anything specific that's massive right now, but we'll hear from Ben, I think around 3:00 today to get a little bit more clarity on that, unless there's one that you can think of that you want me to address, because I just can't think of one off the top of my head right now.
Well, Courtney, it took me off guard. I didn't know Adengbo left the game. Did he
did in the fourth quarter. Yeah, no, he did. It was like in the flurry of all that stuff. I believe it's an ankle injury.
Yeah, he was in a boot.
Yeah, so he left. But I mean, honestly, did you see him much during the game to begin with?
No,
I haven't seen him in games.
Yeah, no, but you saw Austin Booker get in there, and you saw him get a sack at a pretty critical time, and even C.J. Gardner-Johnson and the pressure that they drew up off of the corner blitz early on. Like the pass rush, of course, needs a lot of work. And they had Joe Flacco under pressure a decent amount. I'm sure there could always be room for more, especially against a banged up offensive line like that. But yeah, I mean, guys, I did not see how he got hurt. I just remember hearing them say it over the PA system that he was going to be questionable or doubtful to come back in the game, but he really hadn't had much effect on the game at that point.
In terms of the trade deadline tomorrow, Courtney, you got a flight to catch. I do think that they're going to do something. I know Jay Glazer said before the game, the Bears are among the most aggressive teams he's hearing in the National Football League. Do you think they do something? I know Jalen Phillips got traded by the Dolphins to the Eagles this morning.
Yeah, and for a pretty significant price, too. I mean, the Dolphins are on the hook for a big portion of that salary, and that's, they are a team that's an edge rusher away from trying to get back to the Super Bowl. Like, if the Bears, I wouldn't be surprised if they do. However, I still am in the camp that they don't make a massive, massive move, that they're more apt to stand pat than do anything. Because, at this point, they're a 5-3 team. You saw how wild of a day it was in the NFC North yesterday. The Vikings go on the road. They win in Detroit when we didn't think they were going to in J.J. McCarthy's first game back. The Packers lose. They're right there in the thick of it at 5-3. If there's something they can do that takes them over the top, there's about one area you can point to right now that would, I think, be the right move, which is edge rusher. Where is that edge rusher coming from, though? Like, I mean, we saw, the Phillips move this morning, the cost of that. If the Odengbo thing ends up being a more serious injury and they feel like they still need either depth, I think they'd trade for depth. I don't think it's for a primary top of the line starter, but the names that are out there right now that are on the trading block are not exactly, I don't know, there's nothing that blows you away that you would want them to overpay
Trey
for.
Hendrickson?
I mean, he's got a hip injury, Cap. When is he going to be healthy? Do we have any idea about that? He hasn't played for the Bengals in 2 weeks.
Okay, is he as injured as we're thinking, or is that because of the trade deadline? And what about Bradley Chubb? Is there any chance Max Crosby or Myles Garrett are on the block?
The sound of Myles Garrett sounds like a massive no. But then again, like the Dolphins were playing hardball last week after they fired Chris Greer, and then they make the decision to let Champ Kelly move on from Jalen Phillips today. Like, you're giving up multiple firsts for a guy like Myles Garrett, and you have to take on that massive contract that he just signed. I say no. I do not think that is a feasible thing. But, the Hendrickson one worries me because I understand he's played with Dennis Allen. He's been in this defense. That's great. A, how injured is he? B, you're also taking on a player who's going to want a contract extension when he gets here. I don't know if that's the right move for a team that right now is getting by with what they have, if they can shore up and maybe can find some depth. But I think trading for a high-end, top-of-the-line starter, I just don't see it.
Courtney, lastly for me, I was telling Cap, the headline for me is that the rookies came through. They deserved their game balls with Loveland and Monangai. And I also said this is something I kind of in the back of my mind. Odunze did not have a reception. He had an opportunity to get a touchdown. I thought it was somewhat catchable for a good receiver. It's catchable for him.
It was absolutely. And he told me it yesterday. That ball hit him in the hands. I understand it was thrown behind him, and there are a lot of people who want to put that on Caleb. Rome's got to catch that. Continue. Sorry.
I guess there's a blessing in disguise in which Caleb Williams doesn't have to be so connected to Rome Odunze that he actually can win a football game with others like Loveland and Moore and Zacchaeus and Monangai in the passing game. So I was glad to see the Bears win without Caleb Williams being so handcuffed to Rome Odunze to make sure he gets fed.
For sure. And I think it goes back to, I think it was after the Dolphins preseason game. Like Ben Johnson was asked about, trust in rookies. And he's like, I'm not there yet with them. There were a couple different times. He talked about trust in the passing game, and he went with guys who have a lot of skins on the wall. And then he was asked specifically about the 3 skill players that they drafted, Monangai, Luther Burden, and Colston Loveland. And he said, that takes time. It's not that, he didn't, believe in them, that they could get there. But early in August, even though some of those guys were highly drafted players, you have to earn that. And so to see all these months later, 9 weeks into the season, the opportunity that both of them got, frankly, because of injury, certainly Monangai because of injury, but Cole Kmet comes out, Colston Loveland becomes your primary tight end target and was he was the number 1 read on that 58-yard touchdown. It wasn't like Caleb had to, scramble around, try to find something. No, he knew exactly where he was going with the football. And to trust a guy who had not really done all that much in the biggest moment of the game when you're in a furious rally to try to win is a sign that they got the draft pick right and that this might be the start of something really big for him.
Hey, I know you got to catch a flight. Just really quickly give me an answer. As you look at where this team is today, are they where you thought they would be? Or, I thought they would be worse than this.
I didn't think they'd be worse. I think that 5-3 with some loss, certainly the 2 division losses that they had, the one last week that they, is kind of confounding when you look at all of the things that went wrong for them on the road in Baltimore. But this is steady progress. I think Bears fans can walk away feeling really good about this team's ability to win ugly. I know it's not the easiest thing as a sports fan to watch your team constantly be put themselves in these situations. I mean, there's a lot to clean up. 5 massive special teams blunders from yesterday.
That guy shouldn't buy. He should be renting. Richard Hightower.
My God, from the opening kickoff to the kickoff after that, to the blocked field goal, to the onside kick, and the Devin Duvernay, the penalty on his. My God, there's so much there. But I think it also shows you, this team has a level of grit that they didn't have last year. Like, this team last year doesn't win that game in Washington or that game in Vegas or what happened yesterday to be able to pull out that win. I don't know if Caleb, he had one game-winning drive last year. Like, I don't know if he would have been able to step up in those moments as a rookie and do the things that we're seeing him do now when it's crunch time. And, like, a lot to work on, a lot to build on, but it is a good spot to be where you're right in the thick of it in your own division. And you've got some winnable games coming up. Like, this is a decent stretch for them. I know I said that after the Saints game, and then they went and lost in Baltimore. But you've got the Giants coming to town next week. You go on the road to Minnesota after that, where J.J. McCarthy, like, what version of him do you get at that point? And, they squeaked one out against the Lions yesterday, who we all thought could do no wrong. So I think that it's going to make a really compelling division race. And where they're at right now is a good sign that they're on the right track with Ben Johnson as their head coach.
As always, Courtney, we appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys. Take care.